what you did?
No, it's not.
Well, what would you suggest?
I think our vetting process is working pretty well.
You think it's working pretty well?
Let me ask you this. Aside from the security question that we deal with, that y'all do your best to check, I don't dispute that. You do not screen refugees for anything other than what threats they might make to the United States. Isn't that correct?
They are screened for medical issues as well.
So I just want to discuss this a little bit. And so I think the American people and all of us need to think about it as we go forward with a rational immigration policy. Do you take into consideration the applicants' proficiency or lack of it in English, or even their literacy with regard to the country from which they come?
Our decisions to bring in refugees are based on their vulnerabilities.
So you don't consider whether or not they read and write English and or their own language?
No, it's their vulnerabilities.
And neither do you consider level of education or unique job skills?
No, but I have to say that we receive many refugees with a high level of education, particularly from the Middle East.
What about, do you make any inquiry about practices that we reject in the United States, like female genital mutilation? Do you say, do you believe in that? And when you come to the United States, will you comply with the laws of the United States on that kind of question?
On all questions, we make it clear to refugees that we're a nation of laws and that they need to comply with our laws.
But you don't ask them if they would comply with that law.
I can't answer that question. I don't know.
Because we had 27 honor killings last year in the United States, according to DOJ. Do you ask if you adhere to the practice of honor killings for people who violate certain religious codes before admitting into the United States?
I'm not sure those honor killings took place among the resettled refugee community in the United States. We make it clear, and we have a cultural orientation program which orients refugees, applicants to would-be refugees.
But if you have evidence that they, do you make any inquiry to determine if there's any evidence that they adhere to a group that has those kind of views, like honor killings, and whether or not they would give that up if they admitted to the United States?
Senator, I've seen no evidence to show that refugee communities are bringing these values into the United States.
Well,
what I see is that they're becoming good American citizens, members of the military, members of our police, people with U.S. American values. That's what I see when I visit refugee populations in the U.S.
Well, if they are illiterate in their home country, they're not likely to be a police officer the next week in the United States, are they? And with regard to honor killings, you have evidence that 27 people were killed in the United States for honor killings, according to a DOJ report.
I have no evidence that there were any honor killings among the refugee population resettled in the U.S., sir.
Well, it's from the same cultural background, and I would say. Well, our refugees certainly have evidence that they've been charged, at least 40, with terrorist acts. So you're not perfect in your admission, I have to admit. So, Mr. Chairman, my time's up. I'm sorry. I am the chairman of this hearing. All right. Senator Klobuchar, we're delighted to have a good prosecutor.
Okay, well, good. Well, that's a good way to be.
Well, I mean, a lot of people don't think that. I mean, they voted for Trump on the immigration policy. There must be something going on.
The majority of people in the United States actually voted for Hillary Clinton. She won the popular vote.
No, she didn't win the popular vote because a lot of illegals voted for it. It's been proven.
That's not
There's
true.
studies out there. It's been proven.
No.
If you look it up, it has.
No,
I mean, there are a lot of illegals that vote. I mean, Obama called for illegals to vote. He said it was okay.
No, so
many of the millennials, dreamers, undocumented citizens, and I call them citizens because they contribute to this country, are fearful of voting. So if I vote, will immigration know where I live? Will they come for my family and deport us?
Not true. Okay. And the reason is, first of all, when you vote, you are a citizen yourself, and there is not a situation where the voting rolls somehow are transferred over and people start investigating, etc. The sanctity of the vote is strictly confidential.
So I worked
did you see that Obama said that?
Or, like, do you want me to respond, or?
Yeah, no, I do, but
Okay,
did you
so
see
like,
Obama say
I
that?
worked for the Secretary of State. Secretary of State in my state, and like she and like tons of other Secretary of States who like manage voting agree that voter fraud is almost entirely non-existent.
Here's some shocking new numbers for you, suggesting the true extent of voter fraud across this country. Remember, we've been told by Supreme Courts, by federal courts, by the Democratic Party, that don't worry about those voter ID laws because there's not voter fraud. Well, a Pew Research report shows that 1 in 8 voter registrations are, quote, significantly inaccurate or no longer valid, suggesting further, potentially some 18 million invalid voter registrations in this country, nearly 2 million dead people, that is, dead, are still listed as voters, and they've got friends who apparently keep them company come Election Day.